Welcome to this edition of the Left Behind Game Club. This week we play through Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. We have a questions email now. Yeah, so if you have a question, send it to questions@leftbehindgame.club, whether it's a question about a past episode or just a question about us. Just send us an email and we'll read it on the air. Now, getting back to Ratchet & Clank Going Commando, things got heated at times, including when we talked about cameras. You know, game cameras.
Who were these monsters that created this camera and thought it needed to be inverted?
Yes, exactly. That was actually in capitals at the top of my notes.
Right.
Inverted controls. What the?
Who are these monsters?
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Jacob McCourt, and with me today, I have three friends. My first friend is to my left, Michael Ruffolo.
Hello, hello.
My second friend is to my right, Murtadi.
How's it going, everyone?
And my third friend is virtual. It's Thomas Riess from Charge Shot. Thomas, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Jacob. Thanks for having me on the show. I live inside your computer now, so that's great.
I know. We're staring at you right now. You're on the computer. You're virtual.
You're held captive.
You are. What's your first thing you're going to do now that you're virtual?
I'm going to go through your browser history.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. No, he said mine. Yours
I know,
is fine.
but I don't want anyone to know what you've been looking at.
Thomas, we care about you. Do not do that.
Thomas, before you do that, why don't you tell the good folks listening what Charge Shot is all about?
I started up Charge Shot like almost a year ago, like this February, and essentially it's a bunch of friends that I've made through YouTube and streaming on Twitch, and we all like joined together and started doing podcasting. But we started doing a little bit more than podcasting. Essentially, we have the Games Cast every week. We best friends talk about video games in the news, and we also have another show called Charged Up that Justin hosts with his Ben, and they talk about film and comic books and superheroes and whatnot. And other than that, we also do a bunch of video stuff like covering video games and let's plays and whatnot.
And people can find that at chargeshot.com, right?
Yep, chargeshot.com.
Cool. Today, the game we're going to play is Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. And Mo, this was your pick, right?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you tell us why you decided to pick this one?
Okay, so like with every other game, it's kind of like comes from the gut. I played the first Ratchet & Clank, and I just remember having a pleasant experience. Lots of guns, lots of funny storylines, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, way back on the, was it PlayStation 1 or 2?
2.
Did it come out for 1 at all?
No.
Okay, then that would have been one of the first games I got for PlayStation 2. And I loved it so much. And it was my turn to pick, and you know what? I kind of wanted to just make sure we got this game done. So I just used my pick up, and I said, hey guys, let's do it. And you guys were excited to play it, so it worked really well.
Yeah, I think the original.
Excited to play it.
Yeah, the original came out in 2002. It was one of the first games on. I want to say it was like the first or second year of PlayStation 2, and then Going Commando came out in 2003, 12 months after the first one.
Wow.
That's so funny because there's a joke in this game about see you in about a year.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah, it was great. Well, I mean, we'll get to that obviously,
pretty
but I definitely remember the advertisements for this game. They had a huge marketing campaign around it with all these different little ads that highlighted a different weapon and all the different weapons in the game. It's something that's hugely stuck in my memory, and it's funny now to have played the game and see all the weapons and have them bring back memories of advertisements I saw as a kid.
Now that you're saying that, I'm remembering getting EGM when I was younger, like Electronic Gaming Monthly. And did they not really focus on the Sheepinator as a weapon?
They did a lot.
Yeah.
Yo, they did that in the TV ads for sure. Like, absolutely. Like, I would always see a dude with a gun turning someone else into a sheep. It was hilarious.
And weren't they like huge, like on an actual person, or was it actually Ratchet? I feel like a person.
No, it was on a
real
person. Like, they had like gigantic guns on real people, and they were like using them in the commercials. Like, it was pretty great.
I remember
they know how, like the Sony games know how to market their games through commercials. Like,
couldn't agree with you more.
One Crash, famously.
I remember one vividly of like in someone's backyard with like a shrink ray or something like that from the game.
Yes.
And they ended up shrinking someone and then making them like 10 sizes too big.
That and backyard wrestling ads for some
Yes,
reason, like the
backyard
game.
wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, before we get down a deep rabbit hole
print.
of amazing video game advertisements, we should probably talk about the game.
Yeah, I should maybe like kind of explain to people who are listening
Set it up here, Mo.
what the game actually is.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a role-playing adventure game where you play you guys said the name of the animal several weeks ago.
Lombax.
It's a lombax. So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's like a cat, meerkat looking dude. And he has a little robot buddy, and what you do is you get an arsenal of weapons throughout the game that you use to take down bad guys, and you follow along a cute little story where you're just blasting away bad guys. Nutshell, that's pretty much what it is, and as you go along, you kind of progress, you get more weapons, they're cooler, they're badder, and that's what these guys are talking about, but the commercials, they highlighted all these weapons.
Yeah. I think all I had written here for story was Abercrombie Fizzwidget is the CEO of McCourt. He hires Ratchet & Clank to find the experiment. That was all I wrote for story.
That's the setup.
Mm-hmm.
That's the setup.
Mm-hmm. Thomas,
That's pretty much the story. That's all. I honestly, I'll talk about when we get into like actual planets and stuff. But I played most of this game on mute, or not mute, but half the game on mute rather.
Oh, really? I love the story. I don't know what it was. It was just charming. I like how the guy didn't pronounce anything
He
correctly.
never used correct words.
And the best part is, as I'm playing this, I'm going, Michael will hate this.
I was pulling out my hair.
He's being offended by a character in a video game who's doing this intentionally, and he's still perpetually getting more and more angry as it goes
Mo,
on.
you know me well because the nonsense words were actually annoying me because
Oh,
I
it
was
was great.
trying to understand what he was saying. And every time I stopped for a second to think about the words that he was saying, I was like, none of this makes any
No.
sense.
So-
no human would ever use these words.
The best part about the words he was using, obviously, he'd use the wrong word, but it would
Sounded like
it
it.
would start or end with the actual correct word. So you can kind of play along and be like, what did he try to say? Ah, clever. Yo, Abercrombie, you're really a fizz widget right there. No, I liked him. He's good.
Yeah, he started to be like, oh, hello, and today's going to be absolutely great.
No,
Yeah.
that's correct. That's something you can use
That's
in
more
conversation.
Flanders
Yeah.
than it
Yeah.
is Abercrombie Fizzwidget. Abercrombie Fizzwidget would say indubitably for indubitably and like decaffeinated for castrated.
The actual. I got a sentence. It'd be like, the village over here has been completely decaffeinated and blown up by the family. It's like, wait, what? But it's really destroyed and decaffeinated.
And like 3 of those words in that sentence would be close, but not actually the words.
Yeah, it's great.
Mhm.
That's just his thing, and that was kind of. But they played with that because that kind of went along to the end. Like the reason I felt like he was saying all these wrong words because something was up.
Yeah.
It wasn't maybe really the real guy.
So the experiment is what they call the proto-pet, which is this cute little round creature that they intend to sell to children all across the galaxy in order to, just give them nice pets, right?
Which we come to find out is stolen from the equivalent of like the Amazonian rainforest in this galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And in this great type of like promotional video talking about how Megacorp freed this land of all its vegetation and habitat and all the animals that were in it, so that way everyone can have their proto-pet or the experiment. There are some really funny moments in this game. I thought that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers, I didn't find too many moments that I thought were hilarious.
Oh, really? I thought what? I don't know. I thought it was a charming, like quirky little funny game. Like if I was a kid, I'd be like giggling and laughing at some of this stuff. And as an adult, I'm still laughing and giggling at some of this stuff.
Some of this stuff is it's very like Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think as a kid, like you would absolutely love it. But like I said, I played half of this game on mute. They mostly just did like infomercials. I thought that was kind of clever for most of the cutscenes. I thought that was like a really clever framing device for their writing style.
I thought so too, but like you, playing half of the game on mute, this was a good podcast game for me, where I would listen to something else while I was playing it, because I found that when I would pause my music or my podcast to hear what was happening in the story or the little commentary and dialogue, I felt like I didn't need to hear any of it. I thought it didn't strike me as very clever or interesting, and I thought Saturday morning cartoons were better written than
Just
this.
stop it, Michael. Really?
I don't want. I don't mean to just hate on you, Mo, and all the things that you love in the world, like Lord of the Rings, which isn't very good. But
Which is, right?
The thing about this game is that it really brought me back to a time where video game writing wasn't very good. And I think the thing that this game needs to hang its hat on is all the amazing weapons, and definitely not the story.
And it does do that.
Now, see, I would disagree with you. I agree with you
And you're
that
entitled to wrong opinions.
the game
See,
is
Mike
great.
has the best opinions, like I wrote in my review. Like,
And more on that later in the show. But I think
the
this
best,
game
Thomas.
is perfect for like an 11 to 15-year-old. Because I remember them like, when would I have played this game? How old would I have been when I first played it? Because I played it when it first came out. I was a huge fan of the Ratchet Clank games. I played the first 4 on PS2. Then I went on to play the 3 that came out on PS3. And then I have the remake on PS4. I've not played it, but I also watched the movie. So I'm a fan of Ratchet and Clank.
So
and I would almost put up Ratchet and Clank, either Going Commando or Up Your Arsenal, before I replayed it, in like probably in my top 15 games of all time.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be in the top 10, it'd be like number 12 or 13.
Sorry, where would you put this game in your top 10?
Like it would be right outside of my top 10. It
Okay.
would be like 12 or 13th favorite
This
game of
game.
all time. This game.
100%.
Before I replayed it.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
in your rose-tinted nostalgia glasses,
Yes.
it would have been
When
that
I
high.
first played it as a 13, what have I been 13, 2013 age?
Let's not do
like
math because it'll
13
make
or
us
14
uncomfortable
years
with how
old.
old we are.
13 or 14 years old, I played it. I loved it. I adored this game, and I think that is the sweet spot. Is an 11 to
Okay.
15-year-old, writing-wise, gameplay-wise, difficulty-wise, and if you're outside of that, I don't know if you're going to have a lot of fun with this game.
I think the modification to both your reviews is if you were ever 10 to 11 years old, you're going to love this game. That's pretty much the point. No, it has some quirks or quarks, no pun intended, pun intended.
I think my eyes
Obviously,
just rolled out of my head.
No, but there's some things that I can kind of poke at, but general experience, like if I was young, if I was old, it's a nice little like shooter to kind of let out some rage from the day out, like to just blast things away.
The reason. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys the reason why I had this game on mute is because I got to one of the planets and the music for the planet was like atrocious. I'm trying to see which planet that was.
That happens to me sometimes too with like some games. Like
Planet Notak. It had really weird music where it sounded like someone was trying to tune an out-of-tune tuning fork. Like it just went wow, wow, and I was like, oh my god, I need to end this now or else I won't play through the rest of this game.
No, it's dope.
And see, but I don't remember any of the music. Like there's nothing that stuck out as like bad. There's nothing that stuck out as good.
Yeah, fair enough. This was made by Insomniac.
Yes, correct.
And I didn't know this until after I played the game that they made Spyro, which I hail as my top 3 favorite game of all time because it was the first game I beat front to back. PlayStation 1, that was my first like official console. Mom and Pop brought Spyro along with that PlayStation 1. Played it, beat it, loved it, and finding out that they made Ratchet and Clank 2 afterwards, I'm like, I knew it. There's something in there that kind of connected with Spyro that made me like it.
See, so when I started this game, I thought for sure, like, this was created by... I knew it was Insomniac, but it felt like it was a Naughty Dog game because the very first few levels or planets that you're on, it's very linear. The camera follows right behind. It sometimes shifts to the side, and it was mostly platforming more than combat. And there are all these boxes and crates that are stacked on top of each other, just like Crash Bandicoot. And as you move like one level later, you end up finding these red boxes that if you touch them, they explode, just like in Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, really?
And so much of this game early on reminded me of Crash Bandicoot. And I thought like, oh, this has got to be made by the same developers. And I just asked Jacob, and he's like, no, it's actually, that was Naughty Dog. And it makes so much sense, but
there's a funny story within that because... Sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but did you see the Crash Bandicoot Easter egg?
No, I didn't see it.
Not.
No? Okay, so there's one of the levels where let me see if I can find it.
I'm terrible at that stuff. I always miss Easter eggs. I never pay attention unless I listen to a podcast like this and I find out about them.
So I remember this video, or no, it wasn't. Oh no, it wasn't Crash Bandicoot. It was Jack and Daxter rather.
I
Which is
did
still
see the
Naughty
Jack
Dog,
and
isn't it?
Daxter one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
On
it
the
was
TV
Jack and
screen?
Daxter. Like after you defeated a boss in Daco, there's like a TV, like a little area you go into, and there's like a TV set up. So like there's still like there's a nod to it. Maybe they helped them play like finish this game in a year.
So I know the answer to this.
Jacob,
Can you call on me?
I'm calling on you.
Okay, hi. So in the early 2000s, Naughty Dog and Insomniac actually had a technology sharing agreement where they would.
Makes so much sense.
It does. So the engine that was developed for Naughty Dog's Jak and Daxter is what was used for Ratchet Clank Going Commando, Jak 2, and they shared like progress and information and technology between the two studios. So if you go in the credits, you'll see that Insomniac thanks Naughty Dog for use of their technology.
Okay.
But at the same time, each studio, it was the reason why they could develop these games so quickly. Each studio would make additions to the engine. So for Ratchet Clank Going Commando, for example, the spherical planets, though that was not in the engine when Insomniac got it. So they actually built that from the ground up, 50,000 lines of code to get those spherical planets in the game and shared that back with Jak. The Jak and Daxter team, Naughty Dog. Not that they did anything with that specific technology, but that is now in the engine.
Cool.
That makes so much sense. And that also probably explains why those early levels had a real similarity to Crash Bandicoot. Although I can't be crazy to also be thinking about Banjo-Kazooie playing this game, because you have a sidekick that's on your back that looks like he's on a backpack that helps you fly. Come on, I can't be the only one.
Yeah.
But also, the final point that I'll make is that there's also an Easter egg in one of the cutscenes where Clank does a dance exactly like Daxter dances in Jak and Daxter, where he does that he does that weird like slide, and then he like does the spin like Daxter does in Jak and Daxter. So another cool little Easter egg moment.
I love the Clank. His personality, the way he stays as a robot, he talks really robotic and like
falls in love with robots.
Oh, it's amazing. And like even like those. Okay, so I can't remember. I'm assuming it was the first Ratchet and Clank. There's this one ability where you can like release those little minions, or was it? No, it's in this one when you go to those little nub areas and the little mini robots come and you send them to attack.
Yep.
Probably one of my favorite little mechanics of all time, because I love just sending things to attack, and that goes along to jumps into weapons, because one of my favorite weapons was the turret.
So good. I love the turrets. I love throwing turrets everywhere and not having to engage with anyone.
Loved it.
Because I was so bad at this game.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
I
was really bad
I was so content with just, I see a giant wave of minions like coming at me, drop like 4 turrets and just run around in hysteria just as they can't get me, and my rockets, my upgraded turret, would start blasting them away. But it got a lot weaker later on compared to some bad guys.
What was your favorite weapon, Thomas?
Okay, so I actually made a list of good weapons and bad weapons. I didn't get to check out the turret.
Whoa!
But like, yeah, I know. Like, I didn't use the turret at all.
That sounds like a tough way to play the game.
What?
It sounds like a tough way to play the game without the turrets.
I did fine. Like, for the most part, the Lancer was really like that one.
Is that the machine
kind
gun?
of blasted away enemies for like maybe half the game, and then the rest I kind of used the mini rocket and the lava gun. Lava gun for smaller enemies. I love the lava gun because you just shoot out a stream of like hot lava at enemies and they would just all die immediately. And then I didn't like it so much once it upgraded to the meteor gun though.
Yeah, it was a worse weapon when it upgraded to the meteor gun.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact. Do you guys know about the...
Is it fun fact?
Yeah. Do you know about the award that they gave out to their developers? Was... No, wait, no, that was for a different thing. One of the things they've like come out and said officially was like the upgrade to the lava gun being like shooting like comets and stuff like that changed the fundamental mechanic of that gun. So like with the other weapons, like if you got the turret, when you upgraded it still stayed a turret. If you had the machine gun, when you upgraded it still stayed a machine gun. That one stopped being a lava gun and it was just a projectile launcher.
Same with the decoy too. The decoy goes from being a inflatable ratchet that stands in a corner and everyone attacks to becoming a shield.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing they said, that like because it was so like negatively like reviewed and people didn't like it. I haven't played Up Your Arsenal or any other games, but I'm assuming that never happened again. Where when they upgraded a weapon, they didn't change the fundamental mechanics of that weapon.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
The whole point of the lava gun was that like it has like a whole stream, so like you could spin it around really easily and it would just keep going. But with the meteor, it kept shooting out projectiles instead of a stream of like a stream that you could just spin around and have it attack the whole area.
with the lava gun, that was probably the last gun I actually upgraded eventually because I did not like the ugliness of just shooting like a little splurt of like
The
red.
aesthetics of it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like one of the things I loved about the game was like how when you want to upgrade all your weapons just to see what it's gonna do, just to see what it's gonna do. And once you leveled one up, you're like, it was great, but I don't know if I'm gonna use this unless I'm in a pinch. Like the turret was the first thing actually no, false. Different weapon, but the turret was one of the first ones I upgraded. But then as soon as I upgraded it, I rarely used it because I was trying to progress everything else.
Yeah, I played the same way. My quick select wheel, which like, can we talk about an 8? It has 8 slots. 8 slots?
Yeah.
Come on. I think in future games, what they do is they add like multiple layers to the quick select. I'm going off memory here. I could be wrong, but I think in the PS3 games they added layers so you could flip between like 3 different wheels and have everything. Which is like, why is that not in there?
Yep.
I mean.
Even better solution, I'm probably speaking out of ignorance too though, is you remember when you do the puzzles when you connect your gun into the thing and why can't it just be hey, we have a swinging thing instead of using your hook shot, why can't just a bubble say now you can use your L3 button, which is just
like you don't have to switch to the item to use.
Exactly.
It's an interaction button, which is gonna now you have that feature to swing. Now you can use it by pressing L3 or whatever.
I think I might blow your minds here. Why can't we use the D-pad?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
wait, that's the move.
Yeah, but like you have 2 analog sticks.
Yeah, I know.
It blew my mind that both the D-pad and the left analog stick were to move your character. There's so many buttons that I wish we had on the controller to switch weapons, to do other things, to interact differently, to hover, to glide, to make those long jumps, and yet we're using 8 different directional pads to control a character. I thought that was just a huge oversight.
Yeah, I see. It's probably not even an oversight. It's probably just time. To like you can add like hotkeys, I guess, to something, but that would change the overall mechanic. Do we get rid of the spin wheel and just use those? Do we do both? Because that would be a little weird. Unless maybe you do like the activity weapons, the interaction weapons on
that
D-pad,
would make sense.
And then weapons are in your quick wheel. Maybe that's at the same time. Like that's time. It's a meeting with the developers, with the designers. Does this fit our culture? Do we want to do this? Can we do it in time? Can we hit budget? It's a whole like big bang thing.
It's
Because in future games they did add for the swing shot where you just jump up and automatically it switches to your swing shot. And you can just hit, like, once you get close and hit the button, it goes.
Really?
And you never have any issues. Again, I don't know if
like
that's
that.
the later PS2 games or the PS3 games, but I distinctly remember doing that. Because the first time I jumped for one of those swing shots, I was like, oh, this is just automatically going to go. Whatever. Hit the button. I was right in the drain.
Face planted. Thomas,
Right in the water.
I'm so interested to hear your list of good weapons and then bad weapons.
There's one in my mind. I hope it gets a positive review from Thomas. Let's go.
It's in your hands.
All right.
More likely in your list.
Because remember, keep in mind, like I didn't use all of the weapons.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's some that I didn't get to use. The mini nuke is great.
Mm-hmm.
I like the pulse rifle actually. Like you're able to take out enemies farther away, and once you use it, it's a sniper rifle.
Oh yeah.
Pulse
I didn't
rifle.
buy that one.
Didn't use that at all.
It deals like a ton of damage.
I believe it.
Like I was able to one shot enemies like no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially once it's upgraded. The mini rocket I liked. So they brought back some of the older weapons from Ratchet and Clank, the first one, and if you beat that first game, it would unlock the weapons for free.
Oh, that's interesting.
If you had a save
For free. Oh, yes. If you have a save.
there's like a robot lady
that.
that said, "Hey, if you have a save, you can."
I thought that they were referring to if you played this game already and did like New Game Plus, you wouldn't have to buy those weapons.
Ratchet
again.
and Clank 1 would give you the
that's
weapons.
really
from Ratchet and
smart. I
Clank 1.
really like that idea.
Yeah,
I wish more games
That's a
did
really
that.
good idea. Since I already played through the first one, I had some. Well, I didn't play all the way through. I only played up to a certain part, so I had a couple of the weapons for free. Tesla's Claw, like I used that a little bit, but that didn't really stay in once I had the lava gun.
Stinky weapon. Bad weapon.
You didn't like the Tesla?
Yeah,
I did not like the Tesla coil at all.
I don't think. I've done that one.
the lava gun's way better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
It fulfills the same function.
Yeah,
pretty much. So that's pretty much it. Like all I've really used. I didn't.
Okay, I have
use
one.
some of the because I ran out of money at the end game. Like I grinded forever to get like armor instead.
This game.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
Sorry. Yeah, but the worst one was the spider gun.
Awful.
Or the spider glove.
No, the worst weapon is the bomb. the bomb glove.
Oh yeah, but that's not even a weapon.
Oh,
It's just a basic.
Yeah, but I didn't even. Yeah, that's from the first one. Like, don't use it.
Oh my god, that was the worst. I don't think I killed a single enemy with that bomb weapon.
And you get 40 ammo too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a
It's
waste.
gonna take the whole clip to get rid of one
Oh
guy.
my god.
Yeah.
It was so
It's not
bad.
very good in the first one either.
Oh, see,
don't-
Wait.
yeah.
this is the first Ratchet and Clank game I played.
Are you talking about like the one of the first weapons that just the
It's
shot?
a glove, Mo.
Oh, I
and
thought
it's
you
a
said
little
the
bomb.
I thought you said the
And
bomb
and then
gun.
you throw bombs
Yeah,
at
okay.
people, but you throw them like maybe 4 feet in front of you, so you can't get any. You can't
yeah.
get anyone from like
Yeah.
any reasonable distance. And if they're that close in front of you already, you're being chomped, or
Yeah.
you're being shot, or you're being viciously attacked.
This is a fun question to ask because I didn't ask this off the top. What is your experience with the Ratchet and Clank series, and also how did you play this game, like system-wise? So I'll start and just say, I already said I played all the Ratchet and Clank movie games. I've seen the movie. I just haven't played
You're a
the
super
PSP.
fan.
I'm a super fan. I didn't play the PSP games like Secret Agent Clank, like the other Ratchets that were made for PSP. And I didn't play the weird like off branches. So like All for One, which was a like third-person group-based. I didn't play that one, but I played most of them. So Mo, what's your experience with the series and what'd you play it on? I played it on a PS3. Sorry, like I have a hardware emulation PS3, one of those good ones. So I played it on
The
that.
OG PS3.
The OG PS3.
Oh, I played it on emulator. That's my favorite. I had played the first Ratchet and Clank. That's why I kind of recommended this game. And this one was just regular D-pad controller, similar to a classic PS2.
Thomas, how did you play it?
So I bought the Ratchet and Clank, like I think is the remaster or just the repackage of
Right.
it on the PlayStation 3. I bought that a long time ago, and I haven't really played through them. I played the first one, and I was like, I don't know if I'll play through all of these. So I played on that. I played the second one, and PlayStation 3. I played the Tools of Destruction. I really like Tools of Destruction, but I don't know if I'll go back to that one now after playing the second one.
See, I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game before. I knew a lot about them because they're an ever-present Sony first/third-party exclusive, and so this was the first time playing it. The thing that I knew to expect coming into it was that it had a bunch of weapons, and I played this on the HD remaster on the PS3 that they did. So I thought it looked fine.
Yeah.
But I was generally disappointed with it, and I was not very good at the game. I played it mostly by collecting the weapons that I got early on and trying to upgrade them to be as powerful as they could. And then as soon as I upgraded a weapon, I would switch to a new weapon to try and upgrade that as quickly as possible.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It was like a min-max strategy of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to get the most powerful weapons I could with the least amount of bolts spent.
Yeah.
But I think I was just bad at this game because watching videos of people playing on YouTube and seeing them do these strafing and jumping over bullets.
Yeah.
That is the furthest of how I played this game.
Oh,
Really?
man.
I was
really?
not good at. I did not learn how to control
Just
until
straight
the very
jump,
end.
blast away.
Yeah, here's an interesting question because I knew strafing from the first game. They don't say use
Never.
R2 to strafe.
Never.
At all.
I think I learned that I don't know if it was a tooltip or if I just looked in the menu and I saw like the option to do it, and so like I started doing it, and then I kind of had to teach myself how to do the strafe jump
Oh,
because the jump doesn't come like intuitively.
Mm-hmm.
well,
Like I realized I would do it sometimes. I like I wonder if I could just like do it like a dodge roll, and so I just hold to the left and press X, and you would do the flip, and I'm like, oh, I can do it 4 ways.
yeah. See, like I don't know, me, like I just as soon as I jumped into the game, that's pretty much all I did. Just I don't know if I picked it up from another game or if it was like just familiar from playing the first one or what it was, but moving around, jumping around was pretty natural. I want to get back to weapons.
Can I just make one comment? I don't know
Sure, but
how
we need
you
to get
got
back.
through this game without the circle strafe jump. Like that is how you
yeah.
play
Let me
this
tell
game.
you, it was a long grind. It was not fun. I didn't enjoy my time with it. I hate to be the negative Nancy, but I felt that there were things that the game expected you or needed you to know to get further into it. But earlier in the game, they don't make you go through gates and checks to make sure that you've learned the skills that they want you to learn. So
It's really funny because I thought coming into this, I was going to be the one like poo-pooing your party. I was like, bitch, like I don't want to.
There's always Michael.
Thomas and I think I think we've got some solidarity here.
Yeah.
I don't think this game holds up.
Go ahead, Mo. Sorry.
No, yeah. So talking about like instructions and kind of like babying you through the game.
Babying you through the game.
I said it just to get you going. No, just in general, like for me, when I can't remember what it was, but it was like whenever you got a new weapon or a new, like, let's say for example, it was like the glider or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would just quickly tell you, hey, press X on this area or do this, like L1. Oh, it's like this the suit double jump with Ratchet on your back. Like press L1 and X to jump up higher. They say it once, and me, I have a habit of just clicking away through like
Same
instructions, and if you click away, you can't find it anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
I didn't learn that. Sorry, go ahead.
I found
Thomas.
that crouch jump like didn't really help at all. It was just the same height as a double jump.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just used to help you get longer jumps, like further distances, gaps that were too far.
L1X, yeah.
The straight jump that was fine, but like the actual like crouch and then jump up, like it was the same as a double jump. I didn't really understand.
Oh, yeah.
See, I got to the end of the game, and I needed to do that little glide jump where Clank on your back pulls out his propellers and gives you a little bit more boost. You need that to finish the game. But I got up until that point. I think it was like the last level and had not used it up until then.
What?
Let me tell you, this was a tough game for me to get through.
In the words of Michael Ruffolo, why are you playing this game on hard?
I honestly don't know. I was flabbergasted that this game was designed in this way, because the only thing it made me realize, or that it made me think at the time, was that this was a game that you were intended to fail over and over and over and play these levels continuously and making small progress and advancement, because it was designed for kids who didn't have a lot of money to get a lot of games, and they would be needing to play it over and over and over.
Yeah.
So I thought it was intentionally designed that way. And then I watched people play it on YouTube, and I realized it looks like poetry. The way that they're jumping over bullets, they're dodging things.
It plays like poetry.
They're using the right weapons at the right time. And I was not even close to it. I was like a caveman just bludgeoning my way through this whole game. I was not playing it smart or well.
But there's like a flow that you get into when you like learn the circle strafe, when you jump, when you circle strafe, like in arena battles, which is something we should talk about after Mo talks about weapons. Like there is a flow that you get into that you should just be able to like defeat a boss without even thinking. You're like, okay, I'm going in a circle, I'm going right, I'm jumping, I'm using my, like, how did you even use those like stars? Because if you use those stars when you're on the ground, you have to stop and throw. But if you're circle strafing and jumping, you don't stop at all. You just throw them.
You know what I did?
What'd you do?
I stopped and I threw them. And then I moved, and then I stopped and I threw them.
Okay.
And then guess what I did after that? I stopped and I threw the rest that I had.
Playing the game on hard. So you actually led right to my weapons thing. They're not stars, they're shuriken. And that weapon where you throw that shuriken was the greatest thing that was ever put into that game. Did you guys use it at all?
I upgraded it. I used that a lot.
Okay, so just to get I think the first time you meet the girl robot
Angela. No, the girl robot or the girl Lombax?
The Wombax. When she's in the mask. She's wearing the mask.
Angela.
Also, I don't want to hijack that point, but Angela's voice actor, Kath Soucie, amazing. She deep cuts here, if anyone's remembering. She did Dexter's mom on Dexter's Lab. She did Phil and Lil on the Rugrats. She did
Phil and Lil.
God! You know who I thought she was? I thought she was E.J. Daly, who played Tommy Pickles on the Rugrats. That's who I thought this was.
She did a bunch of characters on the Powerpuff Girls. I think she did Bubbles. She did
Lola
characters in
Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom. She did the mom in Danny Phantom.
Jimmy Neutron. DuckTales.
Here's a big one. Lola from Space Jam.
Yeah, Lola.
The bunny. So, I mean, Kath Soucie, an amazing voice actor. Mm-hmm. As soon as I heard her voice, I was like, that is Kath Soucie, and this is an amazing get. I was so happy to hear that, and I wish that they used her more, because it was one of the only spots that I was like, okay, this is probably worth it for me to pause the podcast that I'm listening to hear this voice acting, because I thought she did a great job. Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
Wombax.
Yeah, so when we get to the Wombax girl, Well, you don't know it's a Wombax girl. It's like the main antagonist, I guess, initially in the game. It's like a mini little boss fight kind of thing where you're in like almost like a cul-de-sac, a lifted cul-de-sac area, and she's floating in a helicopter around. So the first time I fought that, I used my shuriken, and I launched it. And the best thing about this weapon is you're throwing these stars, Jacob, and when they hit the bad guy, they'll like jump around and find the next bad guy and just like kind of fly all around and hit people.
It was great because they not only home in on the enemies, but they go and hit other enemies next to them.
Yeah.
So it was almost like the mini turret in that you just throw it out there and it takes care of who it needs to go
I think
after.
it does 2 like hits and it dies or something. 2 or 3 and then it stops.
It does 3, and then if you upgrade it, it breaks out into I think 2 other ones.
Yeah,
and then
multi-stars.
Yeah. So the first time I played this bad guy, or the bad girl, I guess, I died right away, and then it like brings you back. But when I died the first time, I had enough for the upgrade. So when I got into the fight, the second I was in range of locking on with like the weapon, I just unloaded like a firestorm of like all these shuriken. I'm not kidding. Before like the cutscene, or I don't even know if there was a cutscene or anything in that fight where she changes weapons, she was dead. So she fired her initial volley and she was gone. And that was like when I was like, this is my weapon for the rest of the game. Do not leave my side. And the only time I left my side was when I wanted to boost other weapons. But whenever I got into some trouble, I'm like, shuriken.
So that was your favorite weapon?
Easily, yeah.
Jacob, what was your favorite weapon?
So very late in the game, you get or at least for me, depending on how you spend your money, you may have got it earlier. I got the bouncer, like in the final hour of the game.
Is that the big ball that
That's
splits
the best
into
weapon
smaller
in the
balls?
game. Yeah, it's like
that
the most
continue
powerful
to
thing.
just like hit people?
Yeah, so that you throw the big ball
It's like
and
throwing marbles at people?
yeah, and they hone. So and then you hear like the.
Do you know what that is? That's like an army general saying, my favorite weapon in war is the nuclear bomb. You know, because it does a lot of damage. Like, of course.
There's some real casualties.
Yeah, how are you going to defeat the enemy? Oh,
Fine.
nuclear bomb.
Do you want me to go for a weapon that's not like the ultimate?
No.
weapon in the-
I wanted to know what your favorite
The
was. and you
Sheepinator
let
is
it-
underrated.
That's cool.
No, the Sheepinator is a gigantic
It's
waste.
overrated.
It's cool.
Yeah, so overrated. Thomas and I are just on the same page. Why
Here's-
can't you guys be
It's
on the
fine.
right
It's
page
cool,
with good
man.
opinions that make sense?
You saw the trailers, you saw the commercials, and you wanted to see it.
I feel like that weapon was only in the game so they could have something for the commercials.
Just like that freaking snowman from Frozen. He was only in the movie.
What?
He's only in the movie to sell product.
You know, Mike, if I could, I would give you a high five right
Thomas,
now.
I'm giving you a high five through the screen.
Hey Mo, I can give you a high five right now.
There
Did
it
you hear
is.
that? That's a real high five.
Sounds like
Thomas
a
is just
loser's
looking
high
at
five.
he's just looking at my browser history in the virtual land, and I'm just like,
Yo.
hey, I'm gonna high five Mo again. Look at this.
Just to solidify my point, Olaf in Frozen was made just to sell product and push toys to kids. He had no use for the story.
You know
he
what,
was
Mo?
nothing.
You're only making the case that the Sheepinator's a bad weapon.
Yeah, you're actually not helping our case, bro.
I know. I
Yeah.
just hate Olaf.
Thomas,
So,
Like,
yeah.
Go
I'll say
ahead.
the Sheepinator is like cool in concept, but it doesn't work against like mid-tier enemies.
Totally.
It
You
only
have to
works
wait
against
too long to
small
use it.
tier enemies.
100% until you upgrade it to the black sheepinator. So here's my strategy.
I'm sorry.
No, I
I'm
did
not using
upgrade it,
that
and it's
weapon
still,
long
like,
enough
not-
to
not as
upgrade
good.
it.
Yeah, I didn't upgrade it either.
Here's my strategy. You use the sheepinator on the small enemies. So you know how there's like 3 sizes of enemy. There's like small.
Yeah.
There's like your medium enemies. Then there are the big enemies like the
Yeah.
ships and whatnot. So you use the sheepinator on the little guys, and you just back away from them while you're using the sheepinator. It upgrades very quickly, and when it becomes the black sheepinator, you use it on the small guys. The small guys then are now black sheep. They go after the medium guys. They blow them up, and boom.
I
Yo,
want to
this
poo-poo
is-
that strategy so hard, but I played this game
That's-
like an idiot.
I was gonna
so
say
I
that. I'm
can't.
like, yo, he's struggling with strafing. He's not using the black sheep correctly. And no chance.
So
Thomas, what was your favorite weapon?
I already talked. My favorite. I
Yeah,
said the lava
favorite.
gun because I just
Lava gun?
Yeah, the lava gun. Yeah.
See, I think my favorite was the it was essentially the shotgun. I think the blitz cannon or something.
Didn't buy
like
it.
that.
yep, great. What?
Didn't buy it.
It was so good for clearing out rooms of people that were like running at you and were too close.
No.
You could
Yeah,
easily.
there was a level where there was a lot of open areas with pits of lava,
Uh-huh.
and that's where I used that gun the most. But other than that, I didn't really use it that much.
No, maybe it's just me, my opinion with all other games. Like, I never want the shotgun in any game because it's just short range and it doesn't do anything. You can use a more useful weapon that's more like of a utility weapon. That's the same thing with the sniper though. I don't like sniper guns because like you take traditionally it's take that one shot, you kill the guy, but great, like move on.
Great, you completed your goal with the minimal amount of effort and energy.
It's a straight gunshot, like bang, cool.
That
do
blitz
this.
gun's great. I'm thinking of like, because I think Thomas had said like the Lancer was probably his go-to. So if I'm putting words in your mouth, Thomas, I think that was it.
Well, for the first half, like before it got harder. But
Yeah.
yeah, the Lancer was like a go-to for most of it.
The Blitzgun for me was my go-to.
The Lancer,
whenever I had an issue, it was Blitzgun all the way.
the Lancer was the gun I used when I had nothing else with ammo in it.
Agreed.
In that little burst of area. But then again, there's also other weapons I didn't use, like that initial little bomb that you threw out, the bouncing bomb.
That
whatever.
became the mini nuke, which was amazing.
Yeah, but I rarely used it.
The mini nuke was so good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, and that assault rifle, the generic assault rifle you get in Halo, I was like, cool.
The BR.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Wait, is that in this game?
No.
Oh, he's just saying generally speaking
Yeah.
weapons. Got it.
Yeah.
Can we high five again?
Sounds
Yep.
like a loser's high five.
I'm just like sitting here all sad.
Oh no, the high five him. High five him for
Thomas,
real
high
again.
five. 1, 2, 3. High five.
Okay. Anything else that you want to talk about? I want to talk about the ending. If
I just
we
want
want
to talk about how weak the story was in this game, and I don't want to like beg on it because like it's a story in a essentially kids game, but there are very few setups for why you're going to the next planet or area, or how it cuts from one cutscene to the action that you're performing, or why your characters are doing the thing that they're doing. Like they barely set up why Ratchet and Clank are going to a different galaxy to solve this problem. And then like especially the areas where Clank goes from being the tiny robot to the big robot, like the Gundam.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
They don't explain why Clank needs to become a Gundam and you need to ride on his back and control him and take out like the other people. And I know I'm being like super weird and nitpicky, like trying to look for character motivations and why I'm doing the thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
But there was so much in this game
just play
that
the
felt
game.
like, okay, now I'm just having a space battle and the space battle's
Oh.
done and I'm going from the space battle to fighting on the moon, and somehow on the moon with like this very small moon, they've decided to build a whole city, and then they just unleash a mothership and another like Gundam on this tiny planet that we're gonna have a big fight on. Like, what is going on in
Mike,
this game?
I might come into your world right now, just because the one of the couple things I didn't like about the game was those like fighter like challenges where you had to destroy all the little mini fighter things. Brutal.
Space battles.
Yeah.
I struggled. I died so many times because I didn't know how to dodge. There was no explanation really, or maybe there was and I missed it.
And
I
it's
don't
one
like.
of
There's like a barrel roll, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just rarely did it. And I just so struggled.
That was one of the few areas of the game that I was very good at.
Oh, there we
And-
go.
What?
And it annoyed me that, I mean, one, I appreciated the weird amount of variety in this game
The
of
races.
like flying levels, fighting in the ship,
Time runs.
platforming bits, combat areas. But I felt that each area lasted a little too long for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was, it flirts with being open world, but it isn't.
No,
it's
totally
very
linear.
linear.
There's like two paths in every planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
it's
I
just
spent
challenge levels. That's all.
Yeah, I spent a little too much time on each planet, I think, for like my liking.
Yeah, I love the arenas. The races I thought were. I didn't feel like I was ever catching up to anyone or slowing down. It was just like I was either first place or I was last place the
Same.
entire time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you'd have to restart if you like came in second.
Exactly.
Or third.
If you hit a wall, you're restarting it. The space battles I didn't like. Arenas I loved. I could like if I had the strong enough like weapons every time I was there, I'd clear every challenge and get every coin.
Right.
Everything else I would never.
Likewise.
Yeah. Time trials I did the first one to advance. Space battles just advance and so on and so
Were
forth.
you guys like weird hoarders like me and collected every moonstone?
Yep.
And
No.
yeah.
I just got what I
Crystal.
needed to advance, but I also might be playing this again in that like super mode.
New Game Plus.
Because there was that guy who was like, "Come get these moonstones.
That was
you
a really
don't
good
have,
impression.
You don't have any physical possessions, but give me your moonstones."
That guy's so
what
cool
happened to
though.
materialism?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that guy was so cool. I liked his
I
character.
loved him.
Yeah,
I thought he was hilarious.
yeah, no, he was really cool.
I
And he
think
gave you a lot of money.
he found his home in Borderlands after.
Yeah, totally.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, and then collecting all those things. I found that there's a great amount of money you could get from getting the moonstones or getting those other stones. Like the effort to cash was good. So I'm just like, I'm gonna clear out
Same
all
here.
of these moonstones at all the purple. What are the purple ones called?
Crystals.
The crystals. I'm gonna get all these crystals. I'm gonna move this
I did
rock.
some of the challenges, but I really didn't want to do them at all.
Right.
I found that I wasn't having fun with this game unless I was playing the core concept, which is the arena battles or the actual planets themselves.
Same here.
So I really didn't want to go back and do the races and do the ship battles and whatnot, because it just wasn't as much fun as mowing down a bunch of tiny enemies with your vast arsenal.
Right?
Yeah, the core of the game is very good, and I think that's why the
Yeah.
arena battles are so great. But like you said, like races, which like just made me want to go play Jack X Combat Racing.
Maybe you want to go play Star Wars Pod Racers again.
No, I didn't. I love this game, but it didn't make me want to play anything. I didn't even want to play the game when I was doing these races, and I love the game. It got to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to like take a break, walk, take
Yeah.
the dog out for a walk or something, because like this is my fourth try and I
Meditate.
keep dying. Yeah, but yeah, no,
Those same races are in Jack 2 and Jack 3.
Huh.
I feel.
I've never played one of those games either.
What?
I
I
played the
stutter?
first one. It's much more of a Banjo-Kazooie type.
Huh.
Yeah, it's very Banjo-Kazooie-esque, the first one.
my last negative
The
comment.
second one's just GTA.
Yeah.
My last negative comment about the game, because it was an amazing game, but I have to be completely objective and let you know my opinions. When you die, did any of you guys jump way too far back than you really
Yes.
wanted to?
Yes. I
Um,
appreciate the fact that they're very good at letting you know when you hit a checkpoint. But there were some sections that were way too long until you hit that
Yeah,
checkpoint.
and that's like, I feel like
Yeah.
it's another dev thing where it's like they had one checkpoint where they'll reload you and they don't want to keep the amount of resources in a memory card.
I hit a point where when I would die too many times before hitting a checkpoint, I would start ignoring the enemies and just run past them until I hit
Yep.
a checkpoint. And then I was like, okay, now that I made
Oh,
it here,
I never
I will
did
go
that.
back. I will
Yeah.
clean them up. I will get all of the bolts. And if I die, I move ahead and I don't move back.
So, yeah, that was
Yeah.
annoying sometimes. Like I'd be like so far right before the boss and I'd die and have to start from the spaceship and I'm like, okay, here we go. But at least you got coins, I guess. So that's
There's a
fine.
fun clip of me on Twitch because I streamed this whole game where
Where did you stream it?
I streamed it at jacobstreams.com. Thanks for asking, Michael.
I'm happy to help plug.
Of course. In that game, I'm in the last fight before you get to the final boss, which I want to put a pin in and come back to because I have a comment to make about it. But there's like a long hallway, and there's like platforms to go up. And then you have a store before you get to the final hallway. Then you get to the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to the store. I get out of the store. I've just fought all the enemies, just like you said. There's no checkpoint. I'm hoping for a checkpoint. I get out of the store, and there's a small gap between the store and the next platform. And because of how the camera was, I just walked off the edge.
No.
And I had to go back. Like not a small amount of time,
That
not
hurts me to
small
hear.
enemies, but like I had to go back.
That sucks.
It hurt so badly. But before because I think Thomas had a comment, the camera, you come to appreciate in modern games how far along camera design has come.
Who were these monsters that created this camera and
Guys.
thought it needed to be inverted?
Yes, exactly.
Thomas.
That was actually in capitals at the top of my notes.
Right.
Inverted controls. What the?
Who are these monsters? Where did they come from?
And it's both. It's both left and right and
Yep.
up and
Yes.
down. Like, what is going on?
The very first thing I did when I got into the game was
Switched
like,
it.
oh, well, Monsters designed this game, so I need to go in and fix this camera. I went in and I changed it immediately.
And the thing in the options is the inverted camera, that's the default.
It's nonsense.
So you have to hit like the button and then it changes to an inverted, which is no,
Guys.
you're inverted,
Exactly.
not us.
Guys, so
Exactly.
once you switched it to inverted, did your problem go away?
Yes.
Okay, then
Mostly.
move on. Jeez.
No, the game
little
should be
bit.
designed properly.
Okay. Mike, we're waiting for your designed game that's going to be coming out.
I can't wait.
And it's going to be,
design a
I can't wait for the reviews. I can't wait till it's on the left behind game.
You know that there's one
Uh,
thing that I'll get down correct, and it'll be the camera.
And it won't be released because it's going to take forever.
Sorry, Thomas, you had a point.
I've also had like a little bit of issues actually just playing through the game. There was like a lot of glitching happening, especially like with the mag boot stuff. I would find like I would jump and all of a sudden I would fall off the object, even though you can jump still. Like it can't decide if you can or cannot jump on a
Totally.
magnetized object.
I totally
And I would
agree.
like actually fall and grab onto the edge, and I would try to jump back up, and like magnetize back on, but it wouldn't let me. So I just killed myself.
I had a very frustrating glitch moment where I completed every mission on every planet I had been to so far, and it wouldn't give me the cue to go to the next planet. So I had to reload a previous save, and replay like
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours worth of game, and
Ouch.
that left a bad taste in my mouth. But there were multiple glitches that I bumped into across my play session with the game.
I just want to I don't want to come to the defense of Insomniac Games, but I distinctly remember getting a Ratchet and Clank game every Christmas for 4 years straight. Imagine if you're on that dev team.
There were different times, yeah.
You had 10 months
Yeah.
essentially to put this game together.
Mhm.
And
And-
it's a hell of a game for 10 months.
And the credits too. It's a small team. Like you can finish
Yeah.
the credits in like 20 seconds. And compare that to a modern day game with, high production values, a AAA release. You're sitting there for those credits for maybe 10 minutes, and there are thousands of people that are scrolling through. So I give them mad props for creating a very good game in a short window. But I think my criticisms still stand.
Absolutely. I just wanted to make that comment. I just want
I
to...
can't imagine being on that dev
What-
cycle.
Well,
Yeah, it seems real tough.
Just to explain how amazing this game was. So it was developed in the U.S.
I'm going to hug Mo some more. Come here, Mo.
Listen, it was developed in the U.S., and this is a fun fact that I discovered just now scrolling on the interwebs.
Yeah.
It was the first North American developed game that was released in a bundle in a console in Japan. So the Japanese were like, hey, this game is so incredible, we're going to push it here and bring
Do you hear
the
that
amazing
clap?
product. Thank you, man.
That's my unimpressed golf clap.
I got to clap. Hey, applause is applause. But yeah, just saying, it's a great game.
Yeah, I just want to ask, have any of you guys seen the movie, the Ratchet and
I
Clank
haven't.
movie?
No.
I haven't. I heard it looked good. Like I saw previews of it and it looked really good. I wanted to watch it. I just haven't.
It is surprisingly good, and I think the reason for that is the writing in this game. Except I'm going to pull my pin out now, talk about the movie after. The end of this game is super underwhelming.
Yeah.
So underwhelming.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you beat this big protopet,
Yeah.
and oh, you saved the galaxy,
Yeah.
good for you.
Great.
Like, that was the end.
And here's the real Fizz widget, and he talks like a normal person and can string sentences together that make sense. And then they try and tell you more story during the credits in little in-between sequences.
Yeah.
But none of it ever feels good and wrapped up in like the thing that you did made sense for you to do. And now you've, achieved some amount of like resolution and finality in what you've done. I agree with you. It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, totally underwhelmed by the end.
The whole story seemed to me like they had concepts of things that they wanted to do gameplay-wise in the game, and then tried to create narratives as to why you were going from one place to the next,
Yeah.
which is completely fine. It was a different time. 2003 was a very different year
Oh, yeah.
than 2017 is, but its age shows.
Did you guys know about that Easter egg where you can go into like the devs museum to see all the things
No.
left behind?
No.
So the devs couldn't get a lot of things in the game. I didn't get to it, but you can apparently get to the secret level where it's kind of like, what was that one game we played with you get to see the
30 Flights of Loving.
yeah. So it's kind of like that. You walk into and you could see all the different particles and gameplay and mechanics that they left behind and they didn't want to, but they had to because of
Right.
timing. So,
Interesting.
so that's something maybe you want to look at and then you'd be like, wow, this is a great game.
I feel like you had to change the game clock to access it.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 a.m. You had to play the
Interesting.
game at 3 a.m. to be able to get to this.
Let me tell you, I definitely did play it at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
In a mad crunch to try
that's
and get
based
this
off
game
of,
done
the
in time.
general.
Sorry, my final point, the movie, it's pretty good. It has Sylvester Stallone in it.
Weird.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he plays
I probably need to watch this then because I love Sly.
You're a big Sly fan?
but he obviously,
I like Rocky a lot. That's
Oh, okay.
you could
Yeah.
tell that he through his lines, he did one day of voiceover.
Right.
And got paid the big bucks,
Right.
because he's just he's a crony. He plays
Right.
a crony in the game, but it's most of the other voice actors from the series that
Interesting.
return. It's you know
Cat
what? I
Susie.
watched it on a plane. It's pretty good. She's not in it.
No, damn. The one last thing that I want to bring up is I loved playing Sunset Overdrive, the Insomniac developed Xbox One exclusive. And playing this game made me really understand why I loved Sunset Overdrive so much. They have fantastic weapons in that game. The rail grinding was fantastic, which I thought in Ratchet and Clank the rail grinding was one of the better moments in the platforming. It just really made clear how their little design ideas were very fleshed out and polished in Sunset Overdrive, which came out in 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. So you can see what 10 years of development really leads to. with some of the same ideas.
And Insomniac now is going on to develop the Spider-Man game. As what's weird on Twitter is they just were on Twitter going back and forth with, I think, Andrea Renee, who does Kind of Funny. They had asked the question, like, is this a second-party game? Is it a third-party game? Is it a first-party game? They're saying that it's a first-party game. Whatever. Insomniac's an independent developer. It's beside the point. But I'm really excited to play Insomniac's version of the Spider-Man game for PS4.
Same here. If Sunset Overdrive was any indication of what that mobility and movement would be like, I can't wait to see what they do with Spider-Man.
Did Insomniac do an Infamous? Because I think they
That's
did.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch. Okay, never mind.
So, but no, I think that's a good point to bring up, Thomas, because I remember when I was had the PS2, Sucker Punch, Insomniac, and Naughty Dog's games almost kind of ran in the same gambit because they had Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet and Clank back on the PS2. Then they went to PS3, and Insomniac continued with Ratchet. They put out a trilogy there, but then Infamous was done by Sucker Punch. They did Infamous 1, 2, and then Last Light on PS4, which was a launch title. And then after that, Naughty Dog went on to do... What did they do after Jak and Daxter, the trilogy
Uncharted.
there? Uncharted. There you go. Wow, why did I forget that?
How could you forget Uncharted?
I was pretty good there, but yeah. So they go on.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
They make good games.
They do make good games.
Yeah. Thomas, do you have any more points you want to bring up about Ratchet and Clank Going Commando?
I wanted to point out something really cool in this game. If you use the sniper rifle and you but you zoom in on enemies, if there's two of them hanging out, they do a fist bump.
What?
That's awesome. I like those little details that they sneak in ways that you probably or maybe won't see. I like those little... Very few people are going to see this, but I saw it. It makes you feel a little special. And I wish I would have bought that sniper rifle now and tried that. Because that sounds like a ton of fun.
It's a good weapon.
So if you end up playing this game, definitely buy that sniper rifle.
I'm never playing this game again. I just need to make that clear.
If you're a reasonable, rational individual who appreciates good games,
then you won't play this game.
Then you're going to be playing this game and buying a sniper rifle and seeing the fist bump.
But listen, there's a new game plus option. Like, don't you want to just go through the game again and play it again the right way? Hear me out. You can buy upgrades to the weapons so you can upgrade your weapons further. Mike, just listen.
Just like how you're going to show me how to play Hearthstone, I'll show you how to play Ratchet and Clank.
Okay. If you want to show me how to play this not like a caveman, just bashing my head through the walls.
It'll be art.
Okay.
It'll be a ballet. It'll be a dance.
I look forward to your tutelage.
Yes. But seriously, I need you to help me with Hearthstone.
Okay.
I would suggest you play probably Tools of Destruction. I think that one's a lot better with its platforming and weapons and... at least from my memory anyways, but that was probably like 10 years ago.
You know what? If you recommend it, Thomas, I'll probably check it out, but I do need some time away from Ratchet and Clank because I feel like I have some amount of PTSD with smashing my head against the challenge of this game and then having it glitch on me as hard as it did. With some time away, I think the heart will grow a little bit fonder and I'll come to it. But
Speaking of time, though, like he said, Tools of Destruction, I would also say Kraken Time is great because, listen, Clank gets... time powers.
That's interesting.
Spoilers, and it becomes like a big part of the game is Clank's time powers and how he uses his time manipulation in the story of the game. I'm really excited while I was talking about that.
I'm glad you're excited about it. But speaking of time, I think that signals the end of the show.
What?
I think that's the end of the show.
What?
And that, my friends, is one less game left behind. If you enjoyed the show and want some more, make sure to check us out on iTunes and give us a review. Each 5-star review gets a special shout-out on air.
Shout out.
Mr. Mo, who is getting our shout-out today?
Well, today we got our first shout-out in this little series we have going on. We have a Mr. Andy Birch who gave us a nice little 5-star rating. So if you do want a shout-out, feel free to leave us a 5-star review, and maybe you'll be on here next time.
Fantastic. Mo, where can the people find you at online?
Find me at Murtadi.
And Jacob, where can the people find you at?
Hi, they can find me at Jacob McCourt, and if they want to watch me stream the next game for the Left Behind Game Club, they can do so at jacobstreams.com.
Fantastic. And Thomas, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at CSGThomas. You can also check us out at chartshot.com. Our podcasts are more of a weekly show. We cover the news and cover what games we're playing, and we read emails on the air if we get emails. We kind of take inspiration from Kind of Funny and Giant Bomb and kind of entertain you while providing you information.
That's awesome. And if you want to send us some email, You can email us at questions@leftbehindgameclub.com. And we'll see about reading your comments, feedback, and news on the air. And that, my friends, is our show. You can find me at RuffoloM or michaelruffolo.com. And that's the show. It's one less game left behind. Ratchet and Clank Going Commando.